Welcome to ZKast, everyone. I'm Z.S. Caraval from ZK Research, and I'm here for a very special ZKast. I'm here at the RingCentral headquarters with Vlad Shmunis, who's the current CEO of the company. Vlad, it's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm here to talk to you about some news that you have recently. From what I understand, you are actually stepping down as CEO of the company. You're going to be transitioning to a different role at the company. So first, congratulations on a fantastic tenure as CEO. You're the only CEO this company's ever had, 24 years in the making. So just tell me, why now? The company's gone through some tremendous growth. It's a lot of changes. You took the company from nothing to $2.2 billion. Why did now seem like a good time to make this move?
Great. Well, firstly, welcome to RingCentral. Great to see you, as always.
Yeah. Well, you're only a few miles from my house, so it's easy to get here.
That is true. That is true. Okay. Lots of questions there to unpack. But firstly, thank you for the compliment. And it has been 24 years and counting. And we had a pretty good run, and we continue having a pretty good run. You made the comment I'm stepping down. I don't view it as vertically integrated necessarily.
Stepping aside, how's that?
Well, not even aside. I'm just changing my focus from call it corporate governance and responsibility for running this $2.2 billion corporation and having the buck stop here on all counts. Just changing, but what the flip side of that is that it leaves people like me with a lot less cycles to do other things, for example, tech, okay?
Yeah.
And the decision here has been to get in a super high-end, super proven operator, somebody who knows how to run multi-billion-dollar businesses, runs them successfully, runs them efficiently. If you listen to all of what we've said, and most importantly, what Tarek, the new CEO, is talking about, it's not about growth, it's not about profitability, it's about profitable growth. You have to have both. And we felt, and we'll talk more about it, but given prior experiences with Tarek, given his time on our board, the impression he's made, his track record at HPE, his track record at Sprint, his track record at Telstra, and he was a CEO for one of the spin-offs of Telstra, a few years back. So that all just added in. So he is a high-end, world-class, large-cap operator. At $2.2 billion and growing, myself and the board felt we could use that type of talent and an infusion, new blood, new pair of eyes, like that. So as far as myself is concerned, not going anywhere, but want to be concentrating more on tech, on innovation, on product, which is also the same things, on product marketing. There is a new wave of innovation coming in. We've talked about it, open forum, for some time now. Clearly there is generative AI, which is sort of the big mega wave forming that, we want to participate in. And we see multiple applications of that to our entire portfolio. We've just introduced recently our own contact center product.
Yeah.
That's going to be AI-centric and AI-driven. We have just completed an acquisition of Hopin Events. That's a major platform. Hopin was valued at $7 billion. We paid a lot less for that, but it's the same platform, it's the same people, the same customers, right? So we're absolutely planning to rejuvenate that business, both by just integrating into our platform and our ecosystem, but also product innovation. People are talking about, who does virtual events anymore? Well, firstly, I don't know that we've seen the last of COVID. I hope we have. but people are doing hybrid events all the time.
Hybrid events are big, and there's a big distinction between hybrid events and virtual events.
Exactly, but hybrid is hybrid. Hybrid doesn't mean that everyone is in, we're discussing in Kanapalo or Vallejo or something. Hybrid means some are in, some are not,
Yes.
So I personally think that there is a huge way, huge opportunity to differentiate there, okay? Contact center I already mentioned, that's big. And then just AI for phone, and various applications of that. So our RingSense platform. And, I felt that it could use, putting, call it our, whomever has aptitude for that, why not put them on that part, of the equation? And I believe that I still have some aptitude for product-oriented things. So that's where I want to be spending more of my time. Fortunately, some of the original architects, some of the original product people, even from the very early days, are still with the company. And, we are very much setting up for the next chapter, maybe chapter 3, if you call it. Chapter 1, pre-IPO. Chapter 2, IPO. Your question is, why now? So the why not now? Look, stars have aligned, okay? If you think about it, what do we have? First and foremost, most importantly, major mega trend forming, okay? We haven't seen a major mega trend like that since 2 decades ago, or a little bit more, over 2 decades ago, in '99, when broadband came in, wireless came in, and that engendered globalization, of workforces. Okay, and then we just sort of rode that, and then UCaaS came in, not UCaaS, SaaS came in, and SaaS, we at Ring had a bit to do with translating SaaS into UCaaS. Okay, and that was great, but then things were kind of steady, and it was, hey, let's do more features, let's. This Avaya's data sheet, they have, 1,000 features and we have 880. Okay, let's do the other, 120 features. Literally, that's what it was, Now, the world's completely being redefined, and we think that there is this amazing opportunity to do true wave of innovation next, which actually might dwarf the first one. Because it has implications to person-to-person interactions, UCaaS. It has a huge implications to person-to-brand or consumer-to-brand interactions, which is your ZKast. CPaaS is not far behind, and it's not even behind, but it's right there. So making all of that available as a platform, and we haven't had that new tech. It kind of comes in stages, in steps. So this is the next step, And the question is, do we participate? Do we contribute? Do we stand by the sidelines? And those again, I could have been running the company for another 24 years, probably, But then it misses out on this other thing.
Yeah.
So there's so many hours in a day.
Yeah, it's interesting when you first talk about Tarek too, Tarek Robbiati, who'll be your new CEO, talking about profitable growth. And that is one interesting aspect of this industry that's changed. I think when you IPO'd, even until through the end of COVID, all the focus was on growth at any cost, right? Mm-hmm. And it seems like today, Wall Street especially is rewarding profitable growth. That's a change I'm sure you've seen.
The thing is, it's interesting because it's a little bit double-edged sword, so at least in my book, different philosophies, but, you can't just do what the street wants you to do. Firstly, they all want different things, It's not like one thing, they're all running different directions themselves, And
they change their mind like that too. So
as they change their mind, But look, by and large, I'm not the only stakeholder. We have lots of stakeholders, And it's our board, it's our employees, and it's the investors, and they have a voice, and they should have a voice. And if profitability and profitable growth is now clearly being rewarded a lot more than just any growth, and the implication of that, look, it's easy to grow faster, right? Just pay a little bit more, and you'll get more growth. The issue is you tend to run out of money eventually that way. So you sort of need to scale your appetite with your budget here. And where we are super fortunate is that as we're hitting this cycle, the cycle is not forever, but a few years at least, and we're hitting it as a scaled up business, $2.2 billion, profitable and rapidly expanding profitability, including the most honest measure of all, which is free cash flows, okay? Where we have, I need my CFO for the exact numbers here, but it's something like, it's, over 300 million, for this year. We have a lot of it. I mean, these are decent numbers now, And I tell you, if you're a startup and you get hit by this, it's a lot harder because money may dry up. So the fact that we are profitable, I'm very glad that we didn't go just growth at all costs before, a few years ago, that we did build the business in a way that can sustain this type of hit.
So if we look back to 1999 when you founded the company, you and I have talked about this before, where I consider RingCentral a pioneer in the space because I think it really legitimized SaaS delivery of UCaaS, of voice and things that historically were very hard. I know you're a little bit shy and maybe don't like that term being used, but I think you were. In this 24-year period, is there something, is there a couple of things that you remember being the seminal moments that really put RingCentral on the map? Because you broke away from the competition that there was a lot of back then. It's different today, but a lot of the competitors you had then you don't have today.
Look, there were several, okay? And I'll just concentrate on the good parts.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, you got the 2.2 billion, so you had more good than bad.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. But it's not just a better process always, Yeah. Anyway, look, some of the moments are, firstly, when the product was first coming out, I can't tell you how many people were telling me that it's not ready. Oh, it's not ready, we need to do this, we need to do that. And I kind of listened to them for a few weeks, literally weeks. Then I said, what, we'll never get ready, okay? Except we need to put it in front of the customer. Let the customer will tell us. If we are able to use this product, so what's the problem, So with this, so one was just, I'll take credit for that, just saying, okay, what we have, we're going to package up, okay? It's not like we had zero product,
Yes.
We had pieces here, pieces there, but when we said, look, we are actually going to do a full up, phone-centric communication service, B2B, no questions asked. We know, I knew, we don't have the full feature set, we don't quite understand the GTM of it. We just know it sort of works. Whatever we have works. So we got it out there, and I don't believe we were the first, as we discussed, but I think we were pretty close to being first. And, certainly we had a good run, and in the end, we're able to pull away from competition. Okay, so that was one thing, is just saying, look, and I'm not the one who invented this approach, but, the fail early approach, do it. If it takes, great, and if not, do something else. And this one took, So that was one thing. I think there was a seminal moment in company's history when we took in outside capital. We were not rushing with it. It was not very popular with the team because some of the team went without salary, being paid the stock. They since then have been extremely grateful.
I think they're pretty happy now.
They're pretty happy now, very good now, yeah. But back at the time, family members were asking pointed questions about how long is this going to continue, But we waited out until there was clear traction, okay? We just waited it out, and then when we went out, we literally got, two of the world's best VCs in the company, led by Sequoia. The other one was, Vinod Khosla, just coming off Kleiner. I read this book about Google right before then, and Google was funded by Khosla and by Sequoia and Kleiner. And I said, okay, well, this is kind of close, So, and actually it was, So we had very good VCs, very top-end talent there, okay? And they saw something in us, and the people we were working closest with was Doug Leone, who was managing director of Sequoia, became managing director of Sequoia, and one of the people on the Midas list, one of the most successful VCs ever. For Khosla, it was Vinod and David Wyden, who ran tech for him. So thank you to all of them. And once we had the stamp of approval from these tier one VCs, hiring became a lot easier, retention became a lot easier, stamp of approval, because before it's like, why, why Ring, why not 8, why not Vantage,
Yeah.
Well, why Ring? Because Sequoia says it's Ring. So that helped, okay? So that was interesting. Look, then the product just kind of grew and grew, and the business grew. But there was an event in somewhere 2011 probably, when we were actually ready to go public. We had banks lined up, and good book as they call it, be led I think by JP Morgan, and I actually pulled the IPO. And why I pulled the IPO is that we had stability issues, that I didn't want to offer a product to the market and specifically take other people's money until those were fixed. We stopped all feature development. Everybody was only fixing bugs and re-architecting and re-implementing this new architecture, which with some modifications more or less is holding up to this day, and to this day is world's best reliability and scalability. Okay, yeah. And even though you have these other platforms that are maybe larger than us, but nobody in ZKast, but nobody can claim 5 nines for like 5 years running now. And
you had a month of 6 nines, I understand too, right?
Last quarter was in operation 6 nines.
Yeah.
But look, what does this all mean? Like, what are the nines? It just means that the system is fault tolerant and it knows how to fail and knows how to fail automatically, and we're able to do it. Back to this profitable growth, angle. We're able to do it with relatively light demanding people. Yes, we have teams, and it's not like not one person. It's certainly not fully automated, but enough to where we are able to run it, more or less across the globe. Obviously the Americas, all of EU, select, Asia Pacific, and now, as recently announced services in India, which is the first service provider to do that.
Well, the biggest compliment I can give your platform is a friend of mine who's a CIO, very good friend of mine. He's a down detector fanatic. Mm-hmm. Before he makes any decision on a SaaS platform, he watches down detector for months, and Ring has far and away the best reliable in this industry. So.
Knock on wood. Having said that, knock on wood. Knock on wood. So that one comes to mind. Look, beyond that, again, look, we've had a pretty good run. It wasn't completely, bump free, obviously, but we did innovate in a few areas, even outside of the product. Our GSP practice is very differentiated. The fact that we are able to count the likes of AT&T and Vodafone and Charter and Deutsche Telekom, and there's a much longer list there. Oh, British Telecom,
Yeah. In fact, they're one of your first GSP partners, I believe.
It was AT&T, BT, and Telus.
Yeah.
We still have all three. So the fact that these behemoths and really the who is who of the traditional telco industry are choosing Ring, I think says a lot. Because people talk about enterprise grade, and we go, well, enterprise grade is good, but carrier grade is best.
Yeah.
You know, back in the old days, class 4, class 5.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to be carrier grade, you know, because there's the people who are, you know, stressing the hell out of you on reliability, you know. So when we get into these, you know, situations, everyone is competitive. It's not like Charter just goes and says, well, okay, Ring, you know, we know, you know, people at Ring will, you know, will do with them. It's always an RFP. It's always a bake-off. They're always trying out, you know, and there is huge stress testing of the architecture. And we're able to deliver the message that this down detector being silent on us, you know, it's not a fluke, okay? So that really carries the day for them, because people expect dial tone outside of traditional on-prem telephony. In the cloud, we provide the best, you know, reliability, best chance for the dial tone. So the fact that we went into this GSP business, I think, was the right decision. And we haven't announced the number, but it's very meaningful, you know, growth driver for us, continues to be. It's a good proportion of the base, and it's a huge differentiator and strengths of competitive, and the place of competitive strengths. Sure. You know, we had and still have our relations with some of the incumbents, Avaya and Mitel in particular at this point.
ALE and
yeah, well, these two are exclusive.
Yeah.
Avaya and Mitel, the other are not exclusive, but everybody is contributing seats. And you know, it hasn't been done before that a disruptor would actually link hands with a disruptee, with a legacy provider, to move the base. You know, I don't know, looking for, and some people thought that more people would move more quickly. Many things have happened that, you know, got the pace to where it is, but it's very meaningful, you know, it's very meaningful. Like seats we got from Avaya, it's still like, you know, 10% of our base or something, and ours is a very meaningful base, you know.
Yeah, so if we, and I'll flip the question around a little bit too. So if you look at those as sort of the seminal moments in Ring's history, is there, and you look back, are there things that you wish you had done differently, not done faster?
Well, some of the things that I wish I would have done faster, I'm not going to tell you about because I still may do them.
Okay.
So let's skip that, right? No, I mean we're still playing, you know. Things done differently. We should have everything what I said notwithstanding, we could have and should have taken VC money earlier because we'd be even bigger now if we had. But other stars also had to align in fairness. Look, so that's one. I don't know, you know, COVID was very difficult, you know, and people, you know, confused us with the COVID story. And so we had this huge run up in stock during COVID, and then, you know, this sort of new reality here, at least for the time being. But it sort of was more or less business as usual for us during COVID, truth be told. But yeah, you know, maybe we, when people were really not valuing profitable growth that much, just growth at all costs during COVID, maybe we should have done more growth at all costs. You know, again, it's hard to sort of second guess now, you know, because we were always a little bit more conservative.
Yeah.
You know, so stuff like that. Look, some of the other things, I don't think it's a big secret. We had huge exposure to Eastern Europe on the R&D side. We had presence in the two countries that are in hot war with each other, which is Russia and Ukraine. And we ended up moving a couple of thousand people from both countries, like within the first couple of weeks of the war. We just moved them the hell out. Many of them found their place now in, you know, safe havens in Europe, you know, EU, NATO, all of that, okay? Yeah. So I think that was a bit of an accomplishment. And, you know, a little bit of humanitarian aspects there too, obviously, but, you know, in the end, look, the fact that, again, this is my engineer is me speaking, the fact that we were able to go through this, okay, and, well, save the people, help save the people, whatever, but we were able to go through this without an interruption in service, and also without much interruption in the cadence of delivery and roadmap, and we were able to literally launch Vodafone, for example. So what's Vodafone? One of the premier European-based service providers.
Yeah, perhaps the premier.
Perhaps the premier.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Okay, well, I tend to understate you. Okay, and our win with them was not. It's not like it's really not one company. It's kind of is, but kind of is not. So we won not one or two, but 9 countries all at the same time, all within Vodafone. They all made their individual decision. Okay, and they did that in the midst of this war, which is obviously still ongoing, with a very harsh requirements of having data centers and all access within Western Europe. And by the way, Europe means Europe, like US does not qualify. And we were able to do all of that and launch them, and they're now a big contributor to our growth. I think again that speaks to some of the maybe inherent strengths in the company. It speaks to again technology, product, reliability, architecture. It also speaks to people and resiliency and culture. And some of these people are resilient because they're resilient. I'm not taking credit for that, but maybe laying groundwork for culture that allows them to stay active, and contributing when they're like being bombed. Maybe that's something we've got to do with.
All right, Vlad. Well, I want to thank you for your time. And again, I don't. I'm not going to shy away from saying this. I do think RingCentral has been a pioneer in the space. I do think prior to RingCentral's launch, there was a lot of questions about whether you could actually deliver voice and video services from the cloud. But I don't think that's a question anymore. It's just how fast are people going to convert their seats. I think you're also the first company to really bring unified communications to unified communications. I think we talked about it a lot before, but didn't really do it. And then I think other things you should be proud of are the whole partnership model. You changed the dynamics of the industry, how the go-to-market, this industry works. So congratulations on the job well done. I look forward to seeing what Tarek Robbiati does with the company and see what the next wave of RingCentral is. And I look forward to continuing to see what you do on the technical side. So thanks for joining me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks.